Long time ago, there lived Herr Nakhamuna and his wife. Nakhamuna used to beat his wife every now and then until she could bear it no more. She made up her mind. She would go to her home and let her parents know about these beatings. She informed Nakhamuna that she was going to visit the parents to find out how they were faring on in life, but secretly hid the fact that she was going to inform on him. On receiving this sad information, the parents were devastated. They pitied their daughter so much. They made a decision and sealed it. They were going to ensure that Nakhamuna, their son-in-law, was dead. They decided to prepare ugali and chicken for Nakhamuna and the children. They separated a small piece of ugali for Nakhamuna and put poison in it. They told their daughter, Nakhamuna's wife, that the small piece of ugali had poison, and therefore when she arrives home, she should give it to Nakhamuna to eat and die, and that the big portion should be given to the children. She put the ugali and chicken in the esamwilo, placed it on her head, and began the journey back home. Unknown to her, the naughty Nakhamuna had dug a tunnel from his house to his in-laws' home in the kitchen below the hearth. Every time she left for her parents' home, he would similarly go through the tunnel and sit quietly listening to their conversation. In this way, he had access to all the plans that they made, including that of killing him. When his wife departed from her home for her matrimonial home, Nakhamuna likewise ran through the tunnel back home. He arrived before his wife did, as the tunnel was a straight way to his home, while the road the wife took kept a zigzag through hills and valleys. He took a guitar and sat on the veranda to wait for his wife's arrival. When he saw his wife at a distance coming, he began playing the quitter and singing and dancing. What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart. What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart, and din-din-din-di. What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart. What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart, and din-din-din-di. The wife heard the song and wondered what it meant, but felt it was wise not to question the husband. When she approached him, he received her warmly and helped her to carry the esamwilo containing food to the house. While in the house, he asked her, "What have you brought for us?" "I brought ugali and chicken. The small piece of ugali is for you, and the big piece is for the children," she replied. "What? You can't be serious. A whole grown-up to eat this small piece?" "No, not me. I cannot eat a small piece of ugali. I will eat the big piece with the children," Nakhamuna said with a lot of finality. Nakhamuna's wife took the small piece of ugali and dumped in the latrine. They lived on happily without Nakhamuna beating his wife. After many days, Nakhamuna once again gave his wife a thorough beating, more serious than the previous beatings she had received from him, that she had to run to her parents' home once again. She informed them of the current beating she had received from Nakhamuna. "Didn't we give you poisoned ugali to kill him?" the parents asked in surprise. "Yes, but he refused to eat the small piece, saying he was not a child, so I had to throw it in the latrine. He said small pieces of ugali were meant for children," she explained desperately. The parents told her not to worry because they were going to poison the big piece of ugali and give it to her to take to him. They prepared the chicken and the 2 pieces of ugali. They poisoned the bigger piece and told her to take to her husband Nakhamuna and the smaller piece for the children. Nakhamuna, who was silently listening in the tunnel he had made, rushed back home ahead of the wife. He had heard all the plans they had made of killing him. He took a guitar and sat on the veranda to wait for his wife's arrival. When he saw his wife, he began playing the quitter and singing. "What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart. What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart, and din-din-din-di. What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart. What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart, and din-din-din-di." When she arrived, he received her warmly and helped her carry the esamwilo containing the food to the house. While in the house, he asked her, "What have you brought for us?" "I've brought ugali and chicken. The big piece of ugali is for you, and the small piece of ugali is for the children," she said. No, I cannot eat the big piece of ugali. It's too big for me. I will eat the small piece with the children." Nakhamuna said. The wife then discarded the big ugali in the latrine. From that day, they lived peacefully for 3 months without Nakhamuna beating the wife. Then, one day, he gave her a severe beating like never before. And once more, she ran back to her parents to report. The parents were shocked to learn that Nakhamuna, their son-in-law, was still alive. Their daughter explained to them that he had refused to eat the big piece of ugali meant for him, with the reason that it was too big for him, and he had eaten the smaller one with the children. The parents decided to kill Nakhamuna themselves by hacking him to death. They told their daughter to go back and inform Nakhamuna that the father-in-law had died. They planned that on arrival, the father, who would be lying on bed as if dead, would be holding a machete, and once Nakhamuna was close enough, he would spring up and chop off his head. Nakhamuna, who was silently listening to their plans, while in the tunnel he had made, rushed back home ahead of his wife. He had heard all the plans they had made of killing him. He took a guitar and sat on the veranda to wait for his wife's arrival. When he saw his wife at a distance coming home, he began playing the quitter and singing, "What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart, What is at my in-law's place is in my heart, and Dindi. What goes on at my in-law's place is in my heart, What is at my in-law's place is in my heart, and Dindi." Nakhamuna was still singing when he heard it. "Wooey, wooey, wooey, my father, my father, my father. What will I do? What will I do? What will I do? My father has left me. My father has left me. My father has left me died." The mourner was still at distance, but Nakhamuna was sure that was his wife. He left his quitter and went to receive and comfort her. The next day, the journey to the in-law's place to attend the burial of the father-in-law began very early in the morning. Both Nakhamuna and the wife kept their secrets to themselves. They walked on quietly until they arrived in the homestead. Nakhamuna's wife led the way to the shelter where the supposed dead father was lying, but as she moved closer, the clever Nakhamuna kept a distance. His keen eye suddenly noticed that the supposed corpse was holding a machete. He stopped going further, took his guitar, and began to play, sing, and dance. Is it possible for somebody to die holding a machete? Is it possible for somebody to die holding a machete? Is it possible for somebody to die holding a machete? Is it possible for somebody to die holding a machete? His father-in-law, on realizing that his trick had foiled, jumped off the bed and ran after Nakhamuna, but Nakhamuna, who was anticipating the move, quickly made for the main house, where he knew he could easily locate the hearth underground tunnel he had dug. Once in the house, he locked the door and located the hearth, hit the surface around it, and within a few seconds, the soil gave way, revealing a gaping hole, big enough for his small body, jumped in and ran all the way to his house. The locked door gave the father-in-law had time to reach Nakhamuna. When he succeeded to open the door, he was surprised to see an empty house. "Where is Nakhamuna?" He asked no one in particular. They searched for him everywhere in vain. How could he have escaped? To which place? How? They were stunned. After a while, Nakhamuna's mother-in-law went to the kitchen to prepare food for her family, and there, before her in the hearth, was a wonder of all wonders, a gaping hole. She ran out to call her husband to come and witness this amazing gate. On inspection, the husband realized it was a tunnel, and it was big enough to accommodate Nakhamuna, their son-in-law. Nakhamuna must have escaped through the gap, he said. It was then that it dawned on them. So Nakhamuna had been eavesdropping.